use some braids. I'll use it as backup just in case.
Amen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all so much for having me this morning, and good morning to you. I'm so glad that I was able to join you all in England this morning. I've only traveled here once before, and I was passing through on my way to Stuttgart. So thank you all again for having me this morning. I'm very excited because I'm always proud and excited to be a part of Black History Month observances. Because I believe it's important to A, know your history, and then B, see positive influences and reflections of ourselves and of our people from our past and present. So, and I'd like to, before I continue, let's give the little ones a round of applause today. For their examples and their words during Black History Month, it's so important for them to start out young, getting in the habit of, not only during this time of year, but any time of year, getting to know their history, which includes people around them. You don't only have to learn about Frederick Douglass, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr. You can learn from the people around you. People like Mother Parks, who has been a member here, I learned today, since 1943. You can learn from people just like that. That is Black history sitting, living, and breathing around you. And so to speak to the young people of the audience, take those kinds of people and learn from them and learn from their experiences. Listen to the stories that they have to tell, because one day, our elders will not be here, and we want to be able to pass along their legacies and their stories and share some of those when you get older with your own children. So take the time to invest in that, and that can be part of your Black History Month observances too. Now, when Pastor Montgomery asked me to speak, one of the things he mentioned speaking about is some factors that led to my success, that have contributed to it, and obstacles that I faced in my career. And I'll speak on some of those key factors of success first, one being, of course, education. We all need education, and we know how far that we can get with it in our respective careers. And youngsters, I want you to pay attention, because the classes that you take, the things that you do, the homework that you do, you know, you may not see those things as valuable now, but down the road, trust me, they'll pay off in the end. Whatever you choose to do, whether you want to be a singer, you want to be an actor, you want to be a teacher, you want to be in television, you want to be in entertainment, you want to be in the medical field, all of your education that you're gaining is going to contribute to that down the line. And it's going to pay it forward for yourself and those that come behind you. And I can definitely credit my education. As the pastor mentioned, I went to LSU Shreveport. And while I was taking classes, I was able to work for a TV station in Shreveport. I had not graduated. I had not worked in TV before, but that's how I landed my first job. By taking those classes and just applying myself and just applying to that station out of the blue. I didn't know if I was going to get the job or not. It really didn't matter, because I knew that if I tried, I could say that I tried. And I could use that experience to gain other experiences and lead to other successes. And I'm so glad to say that my education just provided that foundation that I needed to be successful in my career. So that's one of the factors that I say leads to my success. I'm also working at that television station. I worked at my first TV station for 5 years. And I'll never forget all of the experiences that I drew from those 5 years. I was able to hold 3 different positions, learning a lot from behind the scenes to in front of the camera. And it really gave me a pathway for where I am today. Because not everybody understands, as a reporter or as an anchor, as someone in front of the camera, you don't always start off there. You may start off just like I did. I started off behind the scenes, printing and passing out scripts, running a studio camera, but I knew what my end game was. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that my goal was to be a reporter, to be an anchor. And so what I did was I got my foot in the door, and I just made every experience that I had work towards that goal, work towards that end game of being a reporter and being an anchor. Because all of those experiences, you may not realize, they contribute to that. Me knowing how things work behind the scenes, it gives me a better idea on how to present myself in front of the camera. I can help other people out behind the scenes. Whereas if I didn't have that experience, or if I didn't have their viewpoint, then I wouldn't be able to help them as much. But since I did have it, then that helped me a great deal in what I do today. And I also like to give credit to the news director and the production manager that hired me. Being in TV, there aren't a lot of African Americans in TV. There's just not. And there's many other fields where we face that same reality, where you look and you don't see a whole lot of people that look like you. But that's okay. We don't let that deter us. We never have. We never will. And we'll use that to blaze a path for those that come behind us, which is what those before me did for me. I couldn't be in the position that I am if it weren't for those who came before me. And I'm thankful and grateful for that. My first manager was a black man. My news director was a black woman. And to see those reflections of positive energy and positive thoughts of us and our successes meant a lot to me. And it means a lot to others too that may look on and say, you know, because I don't see a lot of myself in this field, I might be able to do it. No, that's not true. You look at others who are there, and you look at how you can make your impact and how you can get there. And like I said, blaze a path for those who are coming behind you. Someone has to do it, and it might be you. It might be any one of you sitting here, sitting back there. You just never know that those things can lead to others' success, because that's what led to mine. And I have to be thankful and grateful for that. Now, to get to today's theme of what happened, that is a very poignant question when you're talking about African Americans in the community or in business or in any aspect of life. What happened to us?
All right.
You know, when I look at the young people of today, you know, I myself being part of that group, but I'm talking about the younger ones who haven't gotten into the workforce yet, who haven't stepped their foot through the door. When I look at our young people today, sometimes I see that they're discouraged, that they're unsure, that they don't have a self-identity. And I think that's where two things that I've noticed that have happened come into play. One is major. One, I think that some young people, and not only young people, but some of us in general, we've turned away from God.
All right.
And we have not followed His word.
All right.
And what He says that we should do with our lives and being obedient servants to Him.
That's right.
That's a big one. Now, I'm no preacher or pastor. I'll leave that to Him. But that's one of the things I feel in my heart is at the root of where we are as a people. Also, we don't know who we are.
All right.
We don't support each other, and we don't stick together.
That's right.
That's a big one. And just to show you how much of a big part of what happened to us, how much a part of that this is. I did some research, and in 2015, or in 2016, excuse me, you all may not know this, but African Americans as consumers, we spent $1.3 trillion with a T into this economy. But guess what? Not a lot of our community members see those dollars coming back to us and our communities. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we have Black-owned businesses that can't stand or support themselves because they're not getting support from the communities that are around them and behind them.
That's right.
And I think what we have to do as a people is we have to realize who we are, what we are, and what we have to offer. And that's one of the many things that we have to offer. Our dollars are going to other places. We consume the most television as a group. We are on our devices the most as a group.
That's right.
But we need to be able to turn those factors around and make them work for our communities.
All right.
And what I encourage people to do, this is what I solely encourage people to do is, and this is what I did when I got to Little Rock. If you can make a plan to maybe once a week, twice a week, find a Black-owned business, patronize that business.
All right.
You may not have ever been, you may not know what it's about, but it is important for us to get behind one another and support each other.
That's right.
I make sure that at least once a week, I either go to a restaurant, I make sure to go to a boutique or a store, whether it be a hair store, clothing, whatever. I go to the salon. I make sure that I am supporting Black-owned businesses so we can stand behind each other and we can support one another.
Yeah.
Because this is how these businesses fall. Because they don't have the support of the community behind them. They don't have our support, guys. They don't have our support.
That's right.
And if you talk to some of these owners and talk to some that do business and try to engage the Black community, they'll tell you that one of the number one issues that they face is they don't have support from the Black community. They say, I can get everyone else into my store, into my shop, but I can't get my own people to come in here. And you know, sometimes I think you may have heard this, I don't know, but we hold them to a different standard. That's another thing that Black owners say, Black business owners say, is that they're held to a different standard than any other business by their own people. And it's not a fair one. And that makes me sad because, like I said, we need to stand behind one another and support each other so that we can grow as a people. Because when it comes to answering the question of what happened, I think that's at the root of it. Is that, again, like I said, we have turned away from God and not followed His plan for us.
That's right.
And then we don't know who we are and we don't stand by each other and support one another.
That's right.
Now, when you're thinking about going to support these Black-owned businesses, whether it be locally or when you travel, and I want you to keep in mind when you travel, you can support them too. Look them up on Facebook. Look them up on the internet. Don't let anything stop you. But I want you to keep this figure in mind too. By 2020, we're expected as a group to spend $1.4 trillion. So it's only our buying power and the dollars in our community, they're only going to increase. And so why not turn some of that increase into influence and prosperity for our own community? I think it's very important. What do you want to leave for the young people?
That's right.
What kind of influence and positivity do you want them to see? You want them to see you, to see me, to see their family, supporting people that look like us. Because it's very important in the way that they view the world. I've had young people come up to me and tell me, I didn't think that I could do what you do. And I said, well, why is that? And I remember one little boy, I'll never forget, he told me, well, because there's not a lot of black people in TV. I said, well, let me tell you something. Don't you let that stop you.
That's right.
You see me as an example. And at the time, I had a few other coworkers who were black and on here as well. I said, you see them too. So don't let that stop you. Don't let that discourage you. Don't let that turn you away. If this is something that you want to do, you put your mind to it.
All right.
Put your mind to it. Put your education to it. When you get older, put your money to it.
All right.
Put your experiences to it. Don't let anything stop you. And I think supporting our black businesses is another way to say that without you having to say anything.
That's right.
Because the power is in your actions.
All right.
And with this being America, we know what? The power is in our money too.
That's right. That's right.
So take those powers and use them. And 20 years down the road, when we ask what happened, it'll be a positive what happened.
All right. All right.
We'll say, man, look at us. You have this black business over here, this black business over there. How did we do this?
All right.
And how can we do it even more? How can we make it spread out? And how can we leave this for our children?